Hello fourth graders and welcome to another English video lesson. Today we will wrap up the topic of philosophy. This is the last unit in this series. My name is Irena and I will be your English teacher for the day. Let's have a look at the learning outcomes. If you complete all the activities and do all the tasks, I expect that you will be able to analyze a philosophical text and to be able to discuss philosophizing. In order to do that, make sure that you have everything that you'll need at hand. That's something to write with and something to write on. You are also going to need a tablet or a computer with internet access. Just like in every video lesson, you can pause or replay the video at any time, not just when you are instructed to do so. Make sure that you go through the lesson at your own pace. So, let's start. In today's lesson, we'll talk about a book which has been published some 30 years ago and since then has been translated into more than 50 languages and sold more than 50 million copies. The book is available online in different forms, and there is also a film version if that is what you prefer. The title of the book is Sophie's World. Before we continue, pause the video and think about the title. Can you guess what will be one of the main topics? What is the name Sophie connected with? Where have you come across a term related to this name? The answer, of course, is philosophy. We have learned that the word philosophy is a combination of two Greek words, philein and sophia, which means lover of wisdom. Sophie's World is a 1991 novel by a Norwegian writer called Jostein Gaarder. It is a story about a Norwegian teenager, but it is also an exploration of the great philosophical concepts of Western thought. The story begins when 14-year-old Sophie Amundsen comes home from school to find in her mailbox two envelopes containing two notes with one question of each. The first question was, "Who are you?" And the second, "Where does the world come from?" From that, I'd say, irresistible beginning, Sophie becomes obsessed with questions that take her far beyond what she knows of her Norwegian village. Through those letters, the letters that she receives, she enrolls in a kind of correspondence course covering Socrates to Sartre with a mysterious philosopher while receiving letters addressed to another girl. Who is this other girl? And why does her mail keep turning up? To unravel this riddle, Sophie must use the philosophy she is learning. But the truth turns out to be far more complicated than she could have ever imagined. So, I hope that this short introduction has piqued your interest enough to read the book if you haven't done that already. Today, we will be working on an excerpt from the book's first chapter. Follow this link to open and download the text in PDF. Once you have downloaded the text, scan the text quickly and answer the following questions. Who sent the letter to Sophie? What does the letter announce? And which metaphor does the sender use to describe our experience of the world? Pause the video, go through the text quickly and jot your answers down. Let's check. Here are the answers. So the first question, who sent the letter to Sophie, is the one that we can answer, but not entirely, because the author is now known. We only learn that he is a philosopher. The letter Sophie receives announces some kind of a course dealing with philosophical questions. We can assume that there will be a number of letters following the first one. And the third question about the metaphor used to describe our experience of the world. It is a metaphor of a white rabbit being pulled out of the hat in a magician's trick. Make sure you got the answers right and correct them if necessary. Let's go on. Now, go through the text once again, now carefully, and complete the following tasks. First, find 5 different philosophical questions and turn them into indirect questions. This will be a practice of what we have done in the previous lessons. Then, find 5 indirect questions in the text and rewrite them as direct questions. Let's see if you can move the process backwards. And finally, find at least 3 more examples of reported speech in the text. Pause the video and do the tasks. Follow this link to check your answers. You will find the potential ways to ask indirect questions and the direct questions that were embedded in the text if you open the cards. Also, you have several examples of reported speech used within the text. What do you notice about that? Can you say something about the way the structure of reported speech is useful in writing? We have already talked about that in the previous lessons. Let's move on. Read the postscriptum of the letter once again and create the mental image of this metaphor in your head. Try to draw it and share the photos of your drawings on the Flinga wall. As far as the white rabbit is concerned, it might be better to compare it with the whole universe. We who live here are microscopic insects existing deep down in the rabbit's fur. But philosophers are always trying to climb up the fine hairs of the fur in order to stare right into the magician's eyes. This is the philosopher's metaphor of how we people experience our world. I'm sure your images will be amazing and that you will share them with others. We have been talking about philosophy a lot. We have discussed ancient Greek philosophers. We talked about the most important questions. We talked about philosophy of happiness and a number of different isms. You have explained your own viewpoint and take on life and gave answers to questions that have been troubling mankind since the beginning of history. Now, when this topic comes to an end, tell us how you feel about philosophy and philosophizing in general. Give arguments for both, for and against, and finish up with your own conclusion. You should talk for 2.5 minutes. Record your response, either as a video or as an audio, and share it on this Padlet wall using the link. Pause the video and do the task. Before submitting your answer, make sure that you have included all the parts based on the instructions. Remember, reasons for philosophizing, reasons against, and your personal opinion. You can use this rubric here, which you can download if you follow the link, to make sure that you did everything right. And finally, for those who haven't had enough of philosophy, here are a few more philosophical topics you can explore. If you open the link, you will find a number of ideas on cards which you can use in the classroom for the classroom debate. You can use them for an online discussion, or they can be the basis for essay topics. I'm pretty sure that you will enjoy philosophizing a bit more. And that is all for today. I hope you have enjoyed the lesson and talking about philosophy. Until next time, take care.